Okay, so this is kind of a random video, but I was thinking the other day about this thing that happened to me a few years ago, and I just started cracking up. And a few years ago, 2011, so 3 years ago, I decided I would enter a bodybuilding show. And at the beginning of the year, I decided that I would do 2 of them and just send all my stuff in and go ahead and sign up for both of them at the same time. One was in June, and the second one was in July. So, you know, I'm preparing for the show and everything like I normally would, and I realized as it got closer, I'm like, you know, I'm pretty pale. I need to get a tan or something. And people are like, yeah, you got to be really dark so that the stage lights, you know, show your definition and everything. So I'm like, you know, crap, what am I going to do? So I tried this self-tanner stuff, and I tried it for maybe a month or so, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad. And I go to the gym and everything, and people be like, yeah, it looks really good. You know, we think it looks good. And everybody was like, yeah, we think it looks great. Just stick with that. So then, you know, so I'm just, you know, doing my thing, and then like, you know, I'm riding in the car with my dad, and he looks over at me, and it's like a sunny day out. He's like, what's going on? He's like, you look orange. You look yellowish orange. And I'm like, oh crap. And I realized at that moment, I'm like, you know, this looks really bad. So for whatever reason, you know, your friends sometimes are like, yeah, it looks good, even though it looks really bad. So, you know, it's like, at that point, I'm like, all right. At that point, I have to go with the spray tan they provide at the show. So you have to drive up a day before the contest and have this stuff sprayed on you. You stand in like these little tents, and they spray the stuff on you. Really bad experience. So anyways, I do the tan, and so anyways, I have a picture of me with the tan. It's kind of funny. I remember when I got it, a friend of mine was like, take your picture of the tan, I want to see it, because they knew that I was going to look really funny. So I was like, no. And then finally I was like, all right, whatever. So I'm like driving back, and I was like, took the picture, and then I sent it to my friend, and the next thing I know, everybody's got it. And like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. But I guess it is kind of funny, but that just shows you how like dark the tan is. And then the second one, I wish I had pictures of the second one just to laugh at, but I don't. So anyways, I do the tan, and for the first show, and it's really bad. Like when you sweat, it comes out and gets in your eyes. And after the show, so my eyes are, you know, irritated the whole time. Then after the show, it takes like a couple days for the tan to disappear. It comes off your face first, so your face is white, and you know your skin's still really dark, and it starts scaling off in certain areas, and it's just really bad. So anyways, for the second show, I decide that I'm not going to go with their tan. I'm just going to go back to my self-tanner and not put it on as much, so hopefully that I wouldn't be orange. So then the night before the show, the second one, I put, you know, the self-tanner on, and I'm like laying there like trying to sleep, and I'm like, this isn't going to work. It's going to look horrible. But it was too late at that time, so I'm like, because the show was the next morning, if you wanted to get the actual tan, you had to do it the day before. So I went with my self-tanner stuff, and then I go up to the show, and I'm like, everybody's got the tan. I'm the only one. I'm like super white. It's like super embarrassing, but well, I was like, whatever. I just want to get it over with. So I'm sitting, you know, it's in like this auditorium area, and I'm sitting in the chairs, and I have my stuff with me, and I get up to go find the bathrooms, and you have to kind of leave the area. And I'm coming back, and this guy's standing at the door. He's like, where are you going, bro? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going back in to get my stuff. It's sitting over there. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm going over there to go back to my stuff. And he's like, dude, you're not in the show. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I even had one of those like wristband things that they give you to show that you're registered and everything. I had that. I think I even had a stamp. He's like, what are you talking about? You're not in the show. And I was like, that's my stuff over there. And the guy's like, where's your tan, bro? I'm like, what? So the guy, I don't know if he was just messing with me or what, but he couldn't understand why I didn't have the tan. So I'm like, just like, this guy's freaking nuts. So finally he lets me in, and I go in there and sit down, and I find out later that the guy was like friends or whatever with the person that did the spray tan, so he was like trying to get me to go do it. But anyway, so then I'm backstage getting ready to go out, and these teenager kids were like, bro, the guy's like, bro, if that's a spray tan, we feel bad for you. And these kids had to be like 16 or something. I was like, oh. They're like, we just feel bad for you. And I was like, thanks. But it really wasn't that bad. So, you know, whatever, I'm just going with it. Then I go out on stage, and when the guy announced me, he didn't know how to pronounce my name. It should be Sean Ferree. And he looked at it and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ferree. And I didn't hear him say it, so I walk out on stage and super bright, and everyone starts laughing. And the people that were there that knew me would start laughing. I'm like, oh. So I figured everybody was just laughing because I was reflecting so much light back at them. So then anyways, I'm laughing, but then I go through my thing, and then, you know, I would have just left, but there was only 5 people in my class, so I knew that I was at least guaranteed a trophy. So at least I'm like, all right, I at least got to stick it out to get my trophy so I can come back with something. So then I'm at least guaranteed a trophy when I leave and come back. So you know, I'm standing there in line when they're announcing the people that play. And they're like, 5th place. They didn't announce me, and I was like, what? So everybody that was in the class had the super dark tans except me, and the guy that had the tan was just looking at me like, what? What is going on? How's this guy, beat me or whatever? And then I ended up getting 3rd out of the 5, so whatever. It was worth it, but super embarrassing. But the whole thing about the guy that was like, where's your tan, bro? He wouldn't let me in the door, so I don't know. I was cracking up about it.